Being confident in your skills and abilities is one of the most important aspects of being an MMA fighter. It gives the fighter a sense of reassurance that they are prepared both mentally and physically for their opponents. This confidence can either help them succeed in reaching their big dreams, or it can have them suffer defeat in a very embarrassing way. The impact of losing a fight can damage the self-confidence, which can have a long-lasting effect on a fighter's career. There have been certain fighters in 2018 who lost their fights, and the losses seem to have snatched the confidence they once had. So for this video, I'll be talking about 10 fighters who lost their confidence in 2018. Number 10. Darren Elkins. Darren Elkins is a top featherweight contender who has slowly been building himself up the rankings with his impressive performances. Since losing to Hector and Diaz at UFC Final 58, Darren Elkins made huge changes to his camp, where he joined Team Alpha Male to further elevate his skills. Over time, he had improved the weak areas in his game and was able to put together a solid 6-fight winning streak, which included wins over Robert Whitford, Chas Skelly, Godofredo Pepe, Mirsad Bektek, Dennis Bermudez, and Michael Johnson. He was next matched up with rising contender Alexander Volkanovski at UFC Final 133, where after a very tough back and forth fight, the unanimous decision was given to Alexander Volkanovski. He will next face former title challenger Ricardo Lamas at UFC Final 140, where in the fight, he landed a number of takedowns in the first round, but struggled to keep Ricardo Lamas on the canvas. In the second round, he successfully got the fight to the ground and attempted a heel hook, but wasn't able to execute the submission. Ricardo Lamas was able to get back to his feet and picked up the pace and accurately picked his shots. In the third round, Ricardo Lamas was able to get a takedown and absolutely bloodied Darren Elkins on the ground to get the TKO victory. Darren Elkins has found it difficult to progress up the featherweight ladder in his last two fights, which has had a slight impact on his confidence. In both of his last two fights, he had moments where he was doing very well, but the outcome of the fight went a different way. Darren Elkins is a world-class featherweight whose past performances have shown that he can hang with the best fighters in the world. Hopefully in 2019 he can come back better than ever and break his losing streak. Number 9. Felice Herrig. Felice Herrig is a top strawweight contender who has struggled to enter the upper echelon of the 115-pound division. Since she got dominated by Paige Van Zandt at UFC on Fox 15, Felice Herrig made adjustments in her training camp and came back as a much better version of herself. She made a return against Kaylin Curran at UFC on Fox 20, where she was able to secure a rear naked choke in the first round. She next went on to defeat Alexa Grasso at UFC Final 104, Justine Kish at UFC Final 112, and Courtney Casey at UFC 218. After putting together a 4-fight winning streak, she was next given a step up in competition, where she faced former title challenger Karolina Kowalkiewicz at UFC 223. After a crazy back and forth fight, the split decision was given to Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Felice Herrig was next matched up with Michelle Waterson at UFC 229, where in the fight, Michelle Waterson was able to keep Felice Herrig at distance using a front leg sidekick, where near the end of the round, Felice Herrig pinned Michelle Waterson against the cage. In the second round, Felice initiated the grappling once again, where Michelle Waterson was able to judo flip her to the canvas. In the third round, Felice Herrig reversed Michelle Waterson's takedown and stayed on top for majority of the round. After the 3 rounds, the unanimous decision was given to Michelle Waterson. It seems like Felice Herrig has run into some bad luck, as in both of her last 2 fights, she was doing decently well. I believe she may have lost some confidence in her loss to Karolina Kowalkiewicz at UFC 223, but she still looked great in her fight against Michelle Waterson. She has been through losses before and has come back a much better version of herself. I believe in 2019 Felice Herrig will make her return and start another run in the strawweight division. Number 8. Patrick Cummins. Patrick Cummins is a top light heavyweight who struggled to make progress in the division, where he has been through many ups and downs in his UFC career. In his fights, he mainly relies on his wrestling skills to dominate his opponents on the ground. If he is unable to get a takedown, he usually leaves himself open and just gets hit with way too many heavy shots, where he ends up looking like a bloody mess after each fight. In 2017, he was able to use his grappling skills to dominate both Jan Blachowicz at UFC 210 and scraped a split decision over Gian Vellante at UFC on Fox 25. Coming into 2018, Patrick Cummins has just defeated 2 top 15 light heavyweights and was next matched up with Corey Anderson at UFC Final 128, where in the fight, Corey Anderson was able to land hard strikes and took Patrick Cummins down many times during the fight, where after the 3 rounds, the unanimous decision was given to Corey Anderson. He would next get matched up with Misha Sakunov at UFC Final 138, where in the fight, Misha Sakunov was able to secure a takedown and ended up in full mount. He then was quickly able to transition to an arm triangle choke to get the victory. Over the years, Patrick Cummins has been through many rough patches in his UFC career, but has managed to bounce back better than ever. I believe the losses have impacted him over the years, which has resulted in him losing his confidence. Hopefully in 2019 he comes back as a much improved fighter, where he is able to start a run once again. Number 7. Raquel Pennington. Raquel Pennington is a top bantamweight who has shown great signs of improvements over the years. She was featured on The Ultimate Fighter Season 18, where she showed her willingness to learn new things to become a better mixed martial artist. Over the years we have seen a massive growth in her game, where in each fight she always shows a better version of herself. After putting together a 3-fight winning streak over Jessica Andrade, Betch Correia and Elizabeth Phillips, she was booked to face former champion Miesha Tate at UFC 205, where in the fight, Raquel Pennington was able to dominate the fight in all areas to win the fight by unanimous decision. This victory had secured her a title shot at the champion Amanda Nunes at UFC 224, where in the fight, Amanda Nunes' striking was far more accurate and had significantly landed the more damaging strikes. At the end of the 4th round, Raquel Pennington had enough and wanted to quit. Her coaches encouraged her to carry on, where in the 5th round, Amanda Nunes was able to land a huge knee to get the TKO victory. Raquel Pennington was next matched up with Muay Thai specialist Jermaine Durandamy at UFC Final 139, where in the fight, Jermaine Durandamy was able to stuff Raquel Pennington's takedowns and landed the cleaner shots to pick up the unanimous decision victory. After getting beaten down by Amanda Nunes at UFC 224, I believe this loss has slightly affected her confidence and she didn't seem like herself in a fight at UFC Final 139. I believe these 2 losses will help motivate her to come back better than ever, and in 2019, she will definitely start a run towards the top once again. Number 6. Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is the former UFC lightweight and featherweight champion who has reached the highest pinnacle in the sport. He achieved so much in his young career, where it almost seems like he has achieved it all in MMA. Since making his UFC debut, he was able to surge through the rankings with his dominant performances, and most famously dethroned long-reigning champion Jose Aldo in just 13 seconds of the first round to become the new UFC featherweight champion of the world. He next had 2 of the most craziest battles with Nate Diaz, and next moved up to the lightweight division and challenged then UFC lightweight champion Eddie Alvarez at UFC 205. In the fight, Conor McGregor was able to pick Eddie Alvarez apart for 2 rounds, where he eventually finished the fight by TKO to become the first ever 2-weight world champion. He next took a break from MMA and crossed over to boxing, where he challenged Floyd Mayweather. In the fight, Conor McGregor was outclassed and was finished by TKO in the 10th round. In 2018, Conor McGregor expressed his desire to compete and was involved in a heated rivalry against champion Khabib Nurmagomedov. Both fighters were scheduled to face each other at UFC 229, where in the fight, Conor McGregor seemed quite anxious and didn't have the same calmness like he did in the Eddie Alvarez fight. Khabib was able to secure many takedowns and even dropped Conor McGregor with the overhand right. In the 4th round, Khabib Nurmagomedov was able to secure a neck crank to retain his title. When Conor McGregor returned in 2018, something seemed to be off, where it seemed as though he wasn't focused in the fight. The 2 losses to Floyd Mayweather and Khabib may have knocked some of his confidence off, where we'll have to see how he comes back in 2019. I believe in 2019 we'll see Conor return back to his old self, where we'll see him focus to get a win under his belt. Number 5. Cody Garbrandt. Cody Garbrandt is the former UFC bantamweight champion who, with only 5 fights in the UFC, he was able to win UFC gold. He made his UFC debut against Marcus Brimage at UFC 182, where in the fight, Cody Garbrandt was able to use his lightning fast hands to stun Marcus Brimage, where in the 3rd round he was able to get the TKO victory. He would then put together a 4-fight winning streak and was next in line for a shot at then UFC bantamweight champion Dominic Cruz at UFC 207. In the fight, Cody Garbrandt's speed and accurate strikes helped him dominate all 5 rounds to win the fight by unanimous decision to become the new UFC bantamweight champion of the world. His first title defense was set to be against former teammate TJ Dillashaw at UFC 217. Both fighters coached the season of The Ultimate Fighter, which intensified the rivalry even more. At UFC 217, both fighters started off hesitant to engage, where at the end of the 1st round, Cody Garbrandt was able to land a clean right hand, dropping TJ, but he didn't have time to jump on the finish. In the 2nd round, TJ Dillashaw was able to land a solid right hook, dropping Cody Garbrandt to the canvas, where he followed up with punches to get the TKO victory. An immediate rematch was booked for UFC 227, where in the fight, Cody Garbrandt's patience was no more and was just rushing his strikes. TJ Dillashaw was able to capitalize on this and remained patient, where he saw the opportunity to land a crushing right hand which stunned Cody. TJ was able to unleash a barrage of strikes against the cage to get the TKO victory. It is evident that Cody Garbrandt's confidence has been affected since his first loss to TJ. He seemed to be very hesitant in the 2nd fight and didn't have the same patience he once had. I believe this time off will help Cody to reflect on his mistakes, where he will definitely be a stronger version of himself in 2019. Number 4. Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson is a top middleweight contender who has struggled to hang with the elite fighters of the division. He has used his explosive power and his excellent wrestling to completely shut down his opponents in a very impressive manner. Back in 2014, he started his run towards the top when he defeated Lorenz Larkin by unanimous decision. He would next put together 4 stunning first-round finishes over Ed Herman, Sam Alvey, Roan Canaro, and Uriah Hall, where he was next matched up with future champion Robert Whittaker at UFC Final 101. In the fight, Robert Whittaker would land a head kick and followed up with punches to get the TKO victory in the first round. He would next lose a unanimous decision to Anderson Silva at UFC 208 and came back and next put together 2 first-round finishes over Dan Kelly and Lyoto Machida. Derek Brunson would next suffer first-round losses to Jacare Souza at UFC on Fox 27 and Israel Adesanya at UFC 230. Derek Brunson has been very inconsistent over the years, where he has lost some very key fights which have prevented him from progressing up towards the title shot. I believe his confidence had been hurt from his loss to Jacare Souza, where in his next fight he didn't look like himself and was just brutalized by Israel Adesanya. I believe these 2 losses will help Derek Brunson evolve as a mixed martial artist, where in 2019 we'll see him get back to his winning ways. Number 3. Stefan Struve. Stefan Struve is a top heavyweight contender who over the years has slowed down quite significantly. He has used his long length and size to gain victories over some of the best heavyweights in the past, but recently he seems to have lost his confidence. He most notably finished future champion Stipe Miocic by TKO at UFC on Fuel TV 5. His rise towards the top has been slowed down due to the fact that he has lost some very big key fights. After losing to Jared Rosholt at UFC 193, he was next booked to face heavyweight veteran Antonio Silva at UFC Fight Night 87, where in the fight he was able to knock Antonio Silva out with brutal elbows. He next faced Daniel Amilanchuk at UFC 204, where he was able to lock in a Darce choke to secure the win. After 2 very impressive finishes, it seems as though Stefan Struve will finally be making a run towards the top. However, that wasn't the case. He would next lose to Alexander Volkov by TKO at UFC Fight Night 115, and next lose a unanimous decision to Andrei Arlovski at UFC 222, and last lost to Marcin Tybura by unanimous decision. Stefan Struve has been through many ups and downs, where losing to big names has prevented him from moving forward. I believe the confidence he has in his abilities is not there anymore, where he doesn't seem like the same fighter he used to be. Hopefully in 2019 he is able to come back and start a run towards the top once again. Number 2. Hector Lombard. Hector Lombard is a top middleweight who over the years has struggled against elite competition in the UFC. He came into the promotion in 2012 as the former dominant Bellator middleweight champion and was hyped up as the next big thing in the UFC. He came into the promotion full of confidence, where he did have some success, but he wasn't able to maintain it. Since his first fight in the UFC, he hasn't been able to be successful due to the high level competition. His last victory was a win over Jake Shields at UFC 171, where he had won the fight by unanimous decision. As of right now, he is currently on a 6-fight losing streak, and things are not looking good for him. In 2018, he was matched up with CB Dollaway at UFC 222, where in the fight, he was disqualified for throwing punches after the bell. He would next get matched up against Thales Leites at UFC Fight Night 137, where in the fight, Thales Leites was able to dominate the striking exchanges and even attempted an armbar in the second round. After the 3 rounds, the unanimous decision was given to Thales Leites. In his UFC career, it seems as though Hector Lombard's high confidence has been damaged quite significantly due to facing world-class competition. This has resulted him to lose self-belief in his skills, which may be the reason why he's on a losing streak. At the age of 40, it seems highly unlikely that Hector Lombard will re-emerge and make a run in the middleweight division. He is near the end of his career, where hopefully he could pull off a win before walking away from the sport. Number 1. Renan Barão. Renan Barão is a former UFC bantamweight champion who was once one of the most dangerous fighters in the promotion. He would pull off crazy finishes and just looked unbeatable. In his second title defense as the champion, he was scheduled to face rising contender TJ Dillashaw at UFC 173, where in the fight, TJ Dillashaw landed a huge bomb in the first round, which changed the course of the fight. Renan Barão was just dominated from pillar to post and was eventually finished by TKO in the 5th round. This devastating loss would have such an impact on his career, where his confidence was no more. He would next submit Mitch Gagnon by an arm triangle choke at UFC Fight Night 58. He would next meet TJ Dillashaw again at UFC on Fox 16, where in the fight, he would get beaten down again, losing the fight by TKO. He came into 2018 with a decision loss to Aljamain Sterling at UFC 214. His first fight would be scheduled against Brian Kelleher at UFC on Fox 28, where he would lose the fight by unanimous decision. He would next face Andre Ewell, where he would miss weight by 6 pounds and would lose the fight by a split decision. Renan Barão has gone downhill since losing his fight to TJ Dillashaw back at UFC 173. His confidence has been damaged so much that he doesn't have the same frame of mind when he goes into his fights. He seems to be very hesitant to engage and isn't the same fighter he once was. Hopefully in 2019, he is able to make the right changes and come back with the confidence he once had. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please make sure you hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit that subscribe button. So that was my list of the 10 fighters who lost their confidence in 2018. Let me know your honorable mentions in the comment section below. Also check out my last video where I talk about the 10 fights to make after UFC 232, and my other video where I talk about the 10 most promising newcomers of 2018. I appreciate your support, and I'll catch you guys next time.